Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 147 of the Magic Beans podcast. My name is Cracker, and I'm going to be your host for this episode. And I'm joined by a single bean in my mate, Stu. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Just currently trying to avoid getting whisked away by the rain.
Washed down the hill?
Yeah. So far, so good.
Excellent.
Yeah, apologies, everybody, for the background noise that we cannot control. I'll do my best.
Yeah, there's a bit of wild weather going on in Melbourne at the moment. Actually, I got to say, it's not as bad as everyone was making it out to be. Like, I was expecting massive downpours and, like, huge winds and stuff.
It started really rough this morning.
It did.
When I got to work and had to get out in the rain. And as the day went on, it got better. And there was a brief moment driving between jobs where I had to actually put my sunnies on. The sun wasn't out, but it was just enough to get some glare through the clouds. So
yeah,
I think it's more devastating now than it was all day. But I think I've got the radar up at the moment, and it looks like it's passing, which I need it to because I really need my roof to dry out so I can fix a couple of leaks.
The joys of finding your new place and all the foibles with it, mate.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good. All right. So we're down a couple of beans tonight.
Where is everybody?
Shorty is, I think, enjoying even better weather than us in Tasmania. Having a great old time down there.
On a working holiday?
He is, yeah. He's like, I'm taking a week off work to go help my brother do some work. I'm like, sounds like a terrible idea.
He loves it.
He does. And what about Chewy? What's he up to?
The oldest bean is off doing what young beans should do, which, considering I'm the youngest bean, I don't even have the energy to do that anymore. As we all know, it's a running gag, but it's true. Chewy is off at a rock concert in the city, which is, I'd love to, but I'm just too old for it now. I'm just too tired.
It's something I haven't done in a long time. I was telling someone at work about it today, and like, when was the last gig you went to? I was like, I don't even know, man.
Yeah,
I've never gone to heaps and heaps of gigs, but it's been just such a long time.
There was a time in my youth where I think I was at gigs weekly. It didn't matter what it was. It'd be some weird off-kilter Scandinavian doom metal band. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Let's go. But my last gig would have been Tool, just before the pandemic hit.
Oh, wow.
Which is a pretty
long time ago
good one to remember.
That is, actually.
And before that was actually a gig with Chewy at Avantasia at the old Forum Theatre the year before, I think, which was also awesome. I love a good gig. I probably need to try and get to some more.
Yeah, I agree. Or I could watch them on my telly.
Look, that's a thing too. And the comfort of your own home without any sweaty, metal lords hanging off your back and stuff like that. That's fair. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. We do that sometimes. Enough about gigs and things. We're here to talk about... What are we here to talk about?
I have no idea. Magic. We're here to talk about our illustrious sponsors.
Oh, Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. What else is there to say? I feel like I've used all the words I can use. They are a Facebook auction site, and they enable us to do all the things that we do. The podcast, the tournament series, the invitational. Without their support, those things probably don't happen. So all we can ask is for you guys to head across to jpmtgbazaar.com.au and nightly auctions. Go and spend all your hard-earned cash if you're not already spending it on interest rate rises, and buy all the magic cards you can. And when you win an auction, just let them know that the bean sent you.
Love it. Yeah, all the words, but those guys are fantastic. We really do appreciate everything they do for us. So we were talking just briefly precast, mate. Last week was just like a monster.
Info dump. News dump last week.
Absolute monster. We talked, it was a super long cast. I think we recorded for like an hour and a quarter, and I felt like we were halfway done.
I had to, because I obviously wasn't on last week, but I had to listen to it to and from work. Normally I would get the cast in one session. But yeah, it got me to work and it got me home, which was pretty cool.
Nice. Love it. So this week, though, bit bit thinner on the ground.
Sometimes it's feast or famine.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm alright with a bit of a breather because it feels like it's just been hit after hit. We've, with all the new cards and
what have we got?
Magic 30 and all that stuff.
We've already had a few early Brothers War previews.
We have.
I would say next week is when that really fires off again. Another couple of weeks of that going nuts.
Yep.
Before that's
Sounds
released, sort of early to mid-November. So this is literally just, as you say, just that calm, that lull. We get to sit back.
Calm. We're 2 weeks out of the set being released. It feels like have we even played with these cards yet?
Are you serious? It's only been 2 weeks.
No, I think it's a month.
Maybe a month. It's got to be a month, which isn't when you say that it's not long.
Just not long. No.
But I think we're seeing so much of it so much earlier now than I think we used to, and yeah, it's just
it's so weird. It feels like you're almost like half done with a set before you even play with the cards.
Yes.
Like everyone's analysed everything and picked it apart and theorised the whole thing, and like deck lists are built and ready to go before anyone's had a chance to like sleeve one up at a pre-release. But anyway.
But it's awesome.
Old man, it is. It's I'm never mad at seeing new Magic cards, right? Because there's some real good ones.
I will admit that the most recent set, I probably wasn't as into all the spoilers and all the previews as I normally would be, which is odd because I really love Dominaria, but I was just like, overload. I've just had enough for the time being, but I'm pretty excited about Brothers War. I'm really keen to see how that all plays out.
Yes. Well, before we get to Brothers War, we've had some shake-ups this week in...
Did we?
We did, yes. We had Bannings this week.
Everybody loves a good banning.
I know you know all about
Look,
this. But let's talk about it.
There was a lot of calls in the lead up to this that... Sheoldred, Liliana, these sorts of cards, they've got to be gone. No, people, no. There's nothing wrong with those cards, right? There was one. Yeah. One card. And I don't know, I think it's interesting that you and I were talking last weekend about what we expected, and I said, yes, it'll be this card, which it actually was. Not because... I don't think it's not the worst thing, right?
No, so it's Meat Hook Massacre. Meat Hook Massacre has been banned in standard. Let's
get it out
in case someone is. We're not trying to bury the lead here.
Yeah, no, we certainly weren't.
That's the one that's gone. And this card has been contentious for a really long time. It's been really strong since it was printed.
It has no weakness. It's a brilliant card, and it can be used at any time, anywhere. But I mean, I think it had to be banned. I have no issues with that at all. But I don't think it's going to have a real impact or make a real shake-up of the meta.
Yeah, I agree. So once they announced that something was going to get banned, so once people worked out that there was a banning imminent through, URLs and stuff like that, typical Wizards things that I don't know how people work out. They must just troll their site.
Absolutely.
Not troll their site constantly to see when there's a new...
It's funny because they troll it as well.
Well, they do that too. That's a different thing. But yeah, as soon as it sort of became known, like Friday last week, that there was going to be a ban announcement on Monday, everyone was like, well, they're definitely going to hit something black because it's clearly the strongest colour, and that's fine. I don't actually have a problem with it being the strongest colour, unless it's white. No, I'm kidding. So, and then everyone was like, well, what's it going to be? And like you said, is it going to be Sheldred? Is it going to be Liliana? And then I think a lot of people kind of settled, us included. It was like, yeah, it'll be Meat Hook. Like it's not the new card. They're not going to ban Sheldred and Lily because they're both...
No, they want to keep selling packs.
They do need to keep selling packs. And Meat Hook has been problematic at different points, I think is fair to say. I don't think it is now, though, or has been recently. Like, I just went through a bunch of deck lists beforehand, and we'll get into these a bit later, but there's only like one deck that I found that is base black with them in the main deck. Everything else is just like sideboard slots.
Yeah, I recently pivoted into an Esper mid-range deck, and I've got two just in the sideboard. I don't run them in the main deck. It's...
And they actually highlight this. They're saying to provide a small pushback against the colour black's play rate. fact among competitive decks, we're choosing to ban one card. And they chose a bunch of different things. And they're saying that, nothing is a particular outlier in terms of power level, which I agree with.
And can I say that I really like this. I like this approach to it. In that rather than going, we're just going to completely hamstring a deck or a series of decks, we're going to, just push back a little bit and see what happens. And obviously, we're only a few weeks out from a new set, which is going to have its own, things that are going to come in that will probably replace that card that is now banned anyway. So, for a couple of weeks, we get to just see what things are like.
Yeah. So, before we get further into standard in that conversation, there was another ban in Modern, and they have banned Yorion the Sky Nomad.
Oh, wow.
So, a companion from the four-color Omnath was really the most common pile that it saw play in.
Yeah.
There were some black, white, death and taxes lists that were playing it as well. There was a few different things, but it was mostly four-color Omnath. The thing that I thought was most interesting about this banning is it wasn't on power level.
Right.
They've actually said that one of the things is... let me read some of the text here. Yorion most commonly appears in the four-color Omnath decks, which show a strong win rate, and according to our matchup data, is likely to continue to rise in popularity. Okay, cool. That's fine. I'm happy for you to hit what you think is the best deck. But in addition to game balance concerns with the deck, we're also factoring the physical dexterity requirements of playing a large deck for tabletop.
Hold on.
We're wary of metagame reaching a point where players are playing the deck because of its perceived strength and win rate, despite not enjoying how cumbersome it can be to operate. What? The most popular format of Magic by a very long way is Commander.
That is so funny.
And if anyone has played anything but Precon Commander, mate, you tutor, you fetch, you shuffle constantly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, this logic here, pretty weak sauce. I'm not going to lie. I'm fine with the banning. If you want to hit something, and again, there's lots of different things you could have hit. I'd actually think that this was the right ban.
Yeah. I have no idea what Modern's doing, so...
For this particular deck, for the Omnath decks, I think if you really wanted to take it down a peg and not ban Omnath, which I understand not wanting to ban Omnath, I think you hit Ren and 6.
Right.
So I was chatting with Chris about this actually, and we were, speculating on what we thought the bans would be. And Omnath seemed like a pretty clear target. They're obviously not going to get rid of all of the pitch elementals. They're not going to get rid of Solitude and, all those kinds of things because, again, they're new cards. And they're actually really fair.
Yeah.
They might feel bad, but inherently they're all powerful but fair cards. You're 2 for 1-ing yourself to, Swords to Plowshare someone's creature or, shuffle their library or, Thought Season, whatever. So, I don't think that those cards are problematic. But Ren and 6 is just this value engine that holds that deck together because there's just so many things they do with their lands and just rebuying a fetch every turn so you have perfect mana or rebuying Beseiju every turn so you can just strip mine your opponent or blow up their enchantments or artifacts or Otawara, and just you can put people in these lock positions actually quite strongly with Ren and 6. And in addition to that, it's minus, kills a bunch of the... I mean, I don't know that anyone's going to be sad Ragavan is dying.
No.
But, it keeps down those kinds of decks where if you wanted to play elves or something like that, if one of the most common planeswalkers in Modern has this side effect where it just pings all your tappers, all your mana acceleration, then that seems like a really bad place to be. So I think if they really wanted to nerf the deck a lot, and look, I mean, this is my speculation. I don't see the data. I don't know. I'm not an aficionado with this, but yeah, I think that would have been a better choice.
Okay.
Whereas now they just cut 20 cards and they actually draw their powerful spells more frequently.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It should just make the deck perform a little better.
Yeah. you obviously lose some flexibility in terms of, just the scale of what you can do. But at the same
Yeah.
time,
That's all right, then.
it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
So, companions.
We love companions.
I loved companions. You and I both played a lot of
so
lures.
much Lurus.
Just a lot of lures.
So
that card is stupid.
So companions, man, like,
yeah.
I really like the concept. I really like that. Obviously, I think they went down that path, after with the popularity of things like Commander. Oh, well, let's introduce Commander or a Commander type to other formats. And I really admire that attempt. I don't know that we'll see it again.
I really hope we do. And not because I want more Luruses, right? Yeah. But I think that, like, now just having the few that we've got left, it would be a shame.
So do they with more, do they continue with that, cost pay 3 to put it in your hand, or is there some other way or some other iteration of having companions that makes them less, how do you say, because for a while there it was a matter of, well, it's a free card, you just have it, right?
You just cast it for its mana value.
Yeah. And it's like, if you're not playing a companion, you're playing wrong.
You're making a big mistake.
Is that where it needs to continue to be in future?
I don't think they can change the rule now. So if you call them companions and you print more with that, type on it, then it'll have to follow that rule formatting. It'll have to be.
They can't change it unless they. Yeah.
Well, they could change it, but then they have to change it for all the others as well.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's a huge problem with the ones we've got left, like Lutri and Kahira
and
Karuga.
Yeah.
It's the Umori or whatever it is. There's a few, like, none of those. Some of them see play, but none of them are particularly busted. But I like the idea of there just being more stuff that people can do, and particularly, like, a lot of the Magic I played early on was just tabletop. It was kitchen table Magic, right?
Yeah.
Was lunchtime Magic, and so those kinds of cards are just fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
To play within a casual environment, which I feel like is. I mean, you also don't care about banning.
Yeah, that's true.
Restricted announcements when you're doing casual things, so you just do whatever you want. But yeah, I mean, they swung too hard with vehicles the first time, with Looter Scooter and all that sort of stuff, and now they found a really good balance. And I think that they could revisit and do it again.
I'd be happy if they did. I'd love them.
Yeah, whether that means we have to go back to Ikoria because it's that plane that they're from, I don't know. Anyway,
yeah.
So the Sky Noodle is gone.
Gonski. See you later. Were there any other ban-ins this week? I don't believe there was.
No. Nope, that was it. They didn't make any changes in it. Pioneer, Legacy, or Vintage. They're pretty happy with where those are all going.
So everybody, if you haven't already, actually by the time this goes live, you may still have time.
Probably too late.
You may still have time to craft your Meathawk Massacres and get your wild cards back. Mm-hmm. Hopefully. For playing an Explorer or Pioneer when it eventually comes to Arena. And Historic.
Sure.
We don't play Historic. It's just an extension of Alchemy these days, isn't it?
Unfortunately.
Did I say Alchemy? I don't think we mentioned that on here anymore.
Not yet, but we will in a minute.
Will we? Oh. Just a brief mention, just a drive-by. Alchemy sucks. Continue on.
Got him. Dear. Yeah, so standard. That's where we are. That's we're playing a standard league at the moment.
Yeah.
Let's get into some more of kind of what we think is going to change in terms of decks being hit, and then I guess also like what we think might come up from this.
Okay.
So looking at the Goldfish metagame, and this is difficult because the ban hasn't taken effect yet.
That's right.
It took effect immediately on Magic Online, but it for some reason took 3 days to put through on Arena, so it won't have happened yet. But I mean, we're seeing like Esper midrange, Grixis midrange, Rakdos Sacrifice, Delver, but we can skip that. Mono Black, Jund, and then Bant. And then we've got some more Jund and some Rakdos. So like of the top, 10 decks, 8 of them are black based.
Yes.
But looking at these lists, like you said, Esper, you 2 in the board?
Yeah, I've got 2 in the board.
Okay. So one of the Grixis mid-range lists I'm looking at has got 2 in the main and then another one in the board.
Yep.
The Rakdos Sacrifice deck, I think, is the deck that actually gets hit the most.
Yeah, for sure.
Out of this.
It just does so much work for it.
Have you played this deck at all?
The Rakdos deck?
Yeah, the sacrifice-based one. Like the Anvil one.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've seen it. I've played against it a lot. It's very good, but no, I haven't played it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's same thing. So like it's really strong, but they quite often just play it out really early, even as a 2-drop sometimes, to just have that extra ping with the anvils. And, you know, just there's so many incidental creatures that die as part of that. And if they need to clean up the board later, then they just don't care. Or they can use it almost as like a pseudo fireball late in the game as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that one feels like it actually gets taken down a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd say that's probably the one that gets hit hardest. Outside of that, though, I mean, the mono black deck I was playing a little bit of obviously enjoys a meat hook.
Sure.
But it's not the thing that wins most of your matches. Often it's there and it almost feels like a win more than anything else. At least in my experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Playing against it, it feels like it can be their catch-up mechanic against some of the quicker decks.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it might slow this deck down a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. It's not like in the past where we used to see meat hook into meat hook, where people were just like casting them aggressively into each other and legend ruling them out just to burn people out. You know, probably. I mean, this is like, 6 months ago, maybe even 12 months ago when it was first come out.
Yeah.
It was a real powerhouse in some of those archetypes, but I think it's kind of, it's dropped off now. So if it's not really slowing down black that much, what are they hoping is going to see this is going to free up to rise, do you think? Because obviously that's the plan, right? It's by taking black down a little bit.
Yeah, they want to try and open things up
other decks to
and get more people playing other decks or other strategies. And I still feel like mid-range will reign supreme even with this ban. And but it absolutely will see a lot of your aggro-based strategies open up a lot more. Which is obviously great, and it's what you want to see in a format is variety and more strategy. Like, I mean, in saying that, like you've got mono red aggro and Gruul aggro already that are doing really well, but I think it does enable them to probably take that next step. Possibly they do start to become closer to tier 1 decks because I don't think any of those black-based decks, other than maybe that Rakdos Anvil, drop. But you'll see the rise of aggro decks, which I think is really good. I guess it's a rebalancing. It's almost what they were trying to do with Alchemy. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Which by dumb luck, I think they'll have achieved that in standard.
They just fell into it by banning a card. So I think the thing that gives it the most chance is post-board games, right? Like if you look at, and if you talk to Shorty, he's got a really good record, best of one and like game ones in the dark with like his mono red aggressive decks. That's just what he likes to play, and people aren't necessarily ready for it. But in the post-board games, when you get to bring in these cards that both sweep the board and gain a bunch of life, that's been the biggest challenge for these aggressive red decks, is that just the incidental life gain that these black decks have is just nutty. I mean, we've talked about it before, like Shieldred gains a bunch of life, Graveyard Trespasser gains a bunch of life. There's so many ways of just kind of recovering that, downside of, taking a beating early on. They recover so well. And then Meat Hook was quite often like the preceding nail in the coffin. You'd sweep on 4 or whatever and then play Shieldred on the next turn or just kind of stabilizing at that point. But if they don't have that chance to gain 4-5 life when they Meat Hook now, because it's gone, then I agree. I think that this frees up the space for aggressive red decks. Like you can punch through those bits of damage with Phoenix Chicks and Thundering Rajus, which previously were perhaps a little anemic for what you needed to.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is pretty cool. So, Mono Blue, I think, would rather that Meathook was in the format, just quietly.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
Can
you play
you explain that to me?
1,000,000 counter spells.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
And so, if they're just trying to tap out for a big enchantment to kill your one or two threats,
it's pretty easy to...
You're just like, cool, spell pierce, or negate, or make this. There's just so many different ways you can deal with it.
So we've talked about mid-range and aggro. Where do we see control in this meta? I've not seen a lot of it whilst playing. Is control just not really a thing at the moment?
Not really, because these Esper mid-range decks and things in previous versions of Standard, they would be kind of almost a control deck. I'm just looking at it now, and we've got like enchantment, which makes tokens. They've got Invoke Despairs and Wandering Emperors as your finishers, and then just like a bunch of counter spells, card draw in Bankbuster, and then, counter spells. So there's a few creatures in there to make it aggressive, but, it's pretty close to...
Yeah, you're probably right.
Just as big a mid-range as you would get without it being, calling it a control deck in that respect. So I just don't know what goes over the top as far as like a controlling element. There's no like 5-mana Teferi to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like that used to be the, Teferi tucking things. And like these decks are playing farewells in the sideboard. Like that is a straight up control card.
Yeah.
So I think that they can kind of transition into that if they want to.
Yeah.
But as far as like a straight hard blue-white control, I don't know. Because the threats are too good. Like you can just apply too much early pressure with underdogs and then like they can just back it up against a straight control deck, I think is the problem.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
So one of the other things that, we were sort of polling the other beans to see if there was anything else that they thought we should talk about. Tokens.
Yes. Tokens,
yeah, it's potentially a thing. I've been trying to find some lists with, honestly, not a lot of luck.
There may not be, but I think what better time than to bring tokens back than when the only real sweeper is gone. When I say only real one, I mean the best one and the most efficient one that would keep tokens at bay. So it makes sense on the surface.
Yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree. We were talking about that before. The only other sweeper we can think of is Farewell. Like, there's certainly no...
There is...
Just 4-mana or 5-mana.
There's another one that I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's something like destroy all creatures and anyone who has like a multicolored permanent draw a card. But, you don't want your opponent drawing a card if you can avoid it. So I don't know.
Typically a bad thing.
Tokens would be cool. I as you know, and you also, you and I are quite partial to a token-based deck.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all in to try and figure that out.
Yeah, it feels like there's definitely something there.
Get your Hallowed Hauntings going. Like, it'd have to be an enchantment sort of based deck, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And so, like, there is the Selesnya enchantments, which is not quite a token deck. You are... Yeah. You do end up there, but it's also playing like a lot of creatures, with like the Jukai Naturalists and the Kamis and Spirited Companions and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, it definitely does kind of just spit them out as well with Wedding Announcement and all those other things. And the thing for me is that those tokens get big.
They get monstrous. And
they get real big and they build really fast.
They do, and it's funny actually that we probably haven't seen more of them because they can outgrow a Meathook rather quickly as well.
Yeah.
I've lost many a game to a massive token because I just couldn't get past it. And if you don't draw into your removal after casting a Meathook, you're in trouble. So yeah.
So I guess that's kind of. I mean, there's not a lot of change in Standard. We're kind of looking for things to talk about. I'd be interested to see if something comes up, like whether the Gruul deck, we were talking about that one before as well, which is starting to creep up in terms of popularity. I mean, there's some turn 4, turn 5 kills with that deck.
Look, I think
relatively consistently.
I think, like we said off the top, Meathook doesn't change things that much, but it does open the door for these other strategies, which will be really healthy for the format. And a lot of people that have felt like they've had to play black because it's the best are going to be like, you know what, maybe I can pivot into something else or try this other strategy, which can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't sink too many wildcards in the hopes of breaking the format.
Oh, definitely not right now.
Honestly,
definitely not right now.
It's still going to be a black format. You're still, the package we've talked about so many times is still very, very strong, and it's kind of not going away. Training Underdog into Liliana into Sheldred is kind of gross. Yeah. If you're on the other side,
it feels good when you do it.
Yep. No, because I'm always like one turn behind, and blue has no catch-up mechanism to deal with that nonsense.
No. Oh, well.
All right. So the other couple of things that there's not a lot. We were looking at the things that are coming out. There's another event coming up soon, but it's the qualifier weekend. But you have to have qualified for that already.
Yeah. So if you have, you already know about it. So you should be sweet.
Yeah, that'll be standard. That is this weekend. There is another 1 day, or not a arena open rather, coming up.
All right. What's the format?
Alchemy.
Beautiful.
Woo!
That's what everybody wants. They're gonna force us to play. They're going to.
I mean, you can put the power 9 into your hand now. You can. There's a new.
There is. I did see that one.
Bird thing that you can summon the power 9 to your deck or whatever. And
so dumb.
Yeah. Apparently, people have worked out how you can blink it a bunch of times and get the ETB effect and
excellent
storm off.
Cool.
With Song of Creation or something. I don't know. I looked at some lists and I couldn't work out how they actually won the game, so I gave up.
Yeah, fair enough.
Mostly because there was a bunch of cards that I'd never seen before in my life as well. What else have we got coming up? There's another. Yeah, so there's another. There was something else after the Open, but I can't find it now.
I have no idea.
Hang on, Arena Open. Sorry. Yes, the Arena Open is the 22nd and 23rd of October. It's both best of 1 and best of 3 in Alchemy, and then day 2 is traditional Alchemy, so that's best of 3. There's another one coming up in November 5th and 6th, which is scarily not that far away.
Yeah.
And that is Dominaria Seal.
It is. I am thinking I might try and have a crack.
Okay. So, given the choice of best of 1 and best of 3, what would you do?
I'll probably do best of 1 just for time's sake.
Mm-hmm.
I can go 0-2 and go to bed. You know what I mean? But look, if I could, I'd probably go best of 3, ideally. But yeah, no, that'll be good. But also that weekend is our league finals too.
It is. That is the stream.
It'll be a big day of Magic.
It'll be a huge day if you're staying up all night and playing through that.
We'll see.
Seems unlikely.
What do you say?
Seems unlikely for me. It's actually my dad's birthday that day, and I'm going to be like streaming all day. I'll probably have to do something.
How do these things keep happening on these? It's always someone's birthday.
That's fine. He's had so many birthdays, it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So, speaking of the league that's running, I haven't played any of my games yet. I'm sorry.
I was just looking.
Liliana.
Your group has had 1 match played so far in 2.5 weeks. So
good
doing
job.
Well. But yeah, we do have a week and a half to go. So for those of you who haven't got your matches done or haven't started, please do. Because that last week can always be a chore to get them finished. So please.
Yeah, particularly with my group and people being literally scattered all over the world.
I don't know how that happened. That was just the luck of the draw.
No, it's fine, mate. It's not a problem. It's definitely not your fault. There's no way you set me up like that.
Absolutely no way. But that's all right.
So,
yeah, so we've had a few groups that have been getting along. I think we have...
Looks like Group A is AZG's finished.
Yeah, so my group, the top two are just about set in stone.
Yep.
There is a way for, I think, Infect Rules to still go into the top two, but...
You've got to win out.
Got to play some matches. My score's wrong, so I need to get that fixed up, but that's okay. But Azzy G is through with a 4-1.
Are you 3 losses instead of...
No. I'm 2-1, not 1-2, because Rolling Royce dropped their match against me. So I should be 2-1, but we haven't figured out how to set that up yet. So we'll leave that. But otherwise, yeah, we've had a few matches going. The channels are always pinging, and yeah, so just need to probably start private messaging or DMing, whatever the kids are calling it these days, your opponents.
I don't know, mate.
Get them done.
Yeah, absolutely. And please do. Like, hit me up, my group, if we haven't played any. So let me know when works for you, and I'm sure we can find an evening that we can make it happen. Otherwise, I think that's about it.
That is about it.
That's kind of all we got for this week, which is the actual mythical short cast that we joke about.
They never happen until now.
They don't until now, which is okay.
I mean, we could probably pad a bit more if you want to, but that rain's getting heavier, so it's going to make it harder for me to edit this as well.
That's true. All right. Well, with that in mind, we might leave things where they are, and thank everyone for listening. It's always a great pleasure to have you do that. If you want to check us out, we are the Magic Beans Cast everywhere. The best place to find us is just magicbeans.com. It's got links to everywhere, all of our stuff. If you want to support us, you can do that directly through our merch shop or through Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar, as we always say. Otherwise, you can follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all those kind of places.
Get in our Discord.
Cast everywhere. And definitely the Discord.
That's where
that is the number one place to be. Always things happening every day. Lots of people, lots of messages. Really fantastic community. But if you're listening to this, you're probably already in there, and thank you so much for hanging out with us there. Otherwise, if you want to chat with me directly, again, Discord's the best place, but on Twitter, I am at JoelHill_. And Stu, you are?
At MStewie.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and we will speak to you all next time.